Hey everyone. In this video, we're going to talk about how to build trust within your organization so that you have really high functioning teams that reach the goals that you want to meet. For those who don't know me, my name is Alessandra. I'm a seasoned tech entrepreneur who co-founded a pioneering climate tech and crypto company. Now I work with entrepreneurs wanting to break free from burnout and become empowered leaders. I hear from founders all the time telling me that they're wanting more trust and alignment in their teams. Why is this happening? We know that having a high amount of trust is really necessary for an organization, especially a startup trying to innovate on something new, pioneer something the world has never seen before. There has to be a high level of trust so that the people can work together, share ideas, collaborate, create something new, and execute on those plans. So why are so many founders struggling with this? We know that as a leader, it is your job as the founder, as the leader of this organization, on this team, to foster and model a sense of trust so that the team can operate in this zone and get the results that you're looking for. In this video, we'll talk about how to foster and build more trust, both on a personal level and an organizational level. So first, I need you to remember something really important. In order for anybody to trust you as a leader, you must first trust yourself. Here's a question for you. Do you trust yourself? Before you say, yes, I do trust myself, or even before you say, no, I actually don't think I trust myself. Let's go through this exercise. Bear with me, and I think we'll get to clarity on whether or not your gut check answer is real or not. Let's take some time to be thoughtful. Let's do an exercise on how to clarify what does trustworthy even look like to you. So step one, think about someone that you trust. Is there someone in your life that you don't know personally, like a tech leader, politician, an author that you really trust, a historical figure that you feel a lot of trust in? Is there someone within your actual personal life that you trust? Think about that. Have that person in mind. Feel free to close your eyes and continue listening to this video if that helps you. Now, this person should be someone that you could trust. Either you would say you could go into battle for them, or you trust them to take care of your kids while you're gone. That's a big level of trust. Think about this person, have them in mind. Number two, ask yourself, what traits and what qualities of this person make me trust them? And I think it's really important here to pause the video, take a pen and paper and write them down, because we know writing can help inspire more thoughts, more clarity of thought. And let's write down a list of the traits that resemble what a trustworthy person is to you. This is very personal. It's very specific to who you are as a person. My answers will not be the same as your answers, nor will the answers of your colleagues. And you, as a leader of the organization, need to be clear on who you are and what trustworthiness looks like for you. So I'm assuming you've paused the video and you've taken time to be really clear. What are the traits about this trustworthy person that you've envisioned in your mind? Now, I want to share with you guys, for those who are struggling with this exercise, or even those who feel like they've got a list of 10, 11 qualities, let me share with you some of the things that I came up with when I did this exercise for myself. I have 8 here. The first one is consistent follow through. Is this person consistently doing the things that they say that we do? When someone isn't doing what they say they're going to do, it quickly degrades trust. And think about how awesome it is when you trust, hey, that person's super reliable. They're going to deliver on what they say they're going to do. Number 2, they share my values. My values are kindness, respect, a desire to leave this planet better than when we left it, or a desire to have that be the impact anyways. The third one for me was considerate. I think it's really important that people are considerate of others, especially if I'm going to trust them to be a leader for me. I need to know that they're going to consider me as part of the organization and my team, my colleagues in the organization. Are they considerate of the people that they're leading? Very important for me. 4, integrity. Does this person have integrity? Do they understand who they are as a person, their moral compass, and do they stand steadfastly to those values? The 5th here is honest and effective communication. Does this person provide honesty and communicate that effectively, meaning with empathy, with clarity of thought, of understanding the complexities of the situation? You know, people like to say, be brutally honest. That is not at all what I'm talking about here. I think brutal honesty is actually pretty dim-witted and not that intelligent. Empathetic honesty, effective honesty, or radical candor. And some of you might be familiar with this concept. It's a wonderful book. Check it out. Being honest and effective in your communication about, hey, listen, these are the expectations of your job, of what we said you were going to accomplish within this month. They weren't met. What were the reasons for that? Being open and curious, asking open-ended questions to get to a higher level of understanding is a really key aspect to effective communication. Otherwise, you're just dictating and saying things without opening the door. Communication is bidirectional, right? You want to be open to receive information, to glean better understanding, as well as share what your understanding is to others so that they can have better understanding of you as a leader, what you're looking for, what the expectations are. And this has to be a skill that is practiced consistently, communicating even when things feel really difficult, having those crucial conversations that are so uncomfortable, which I'll do another video on at some point, because that is a skill that requires a lot of intention and it doesn't come naturally to most people. The sixth one that I have here is boundaries. Are they clear about what their own boundaries are? And do they respect the boundaries of other people? This means understanding really clearly for you as a person, what are the things I will accept in my life, will not accept with the boundaries that I have? Am I willing and open to understand that these might not be the same as other people's? Or when someone else communicates to me a violation of their boundaries, or even that their boundaries exist, am I open, receptive, and respectful of those boundaries? This is really key, especially as we evolve our understanding of how individuals interact within organizations. Understanding your personal boundaries is absolutely vital. The seven that I have here is, for me, again, is this person mission driven? Especially when it comes to leaders, I like to follow leaders who are very clear about what their vision is and their mission is in the organization. What impact are they wanting to leave? Because that sets the tone for everything, all of our work, and it aligns us in one direction. And the eighth one, the last one that I have for myself here is accountability. Do they hold themselves accountable for the things that they commit to? Super important aspect to feeling trust within someone. So those are some of the 8 characteristics I found for myself. Hopefully they were helpful to you. Add them to your list of the characteristics that you've identified for yourself that make a trustworthy person. So now that we've been clear on what the characteristics are of a trustworthy person, let's do another exercise. Let's go through every single line and score yourself. How do you rank in terms of these characteristics? Do you exemplify these characteristics in your own life? And what we'll see is we can determine, are we trustworthy? Do we trust ourselves? Looking at my list, I would say for the most part, I'm a yes on most of these, but there are 2 or 3 of these characteristics that I recognize I have struggled with throughout my adult life and continue to work on very intentionally. For example, consistency, following through with what I say I'm going to do. That has been a struggle for me, not because I want to be an unreliable person, but because I find a lot of creative impulses to do something. I tend to bite off more than I can chew. And so with that understanding and self-awareness, I can say, okay, let me not make commitments before I first assess, do I have time, resources? Does it align with my priorities right now with the goals that I've already identified for myself? That is an ongoing process, but be really honest with yourself. This has been a helpful exercise for me. This is definitely something I want to work on for myself. Another one that I've actually struggled with that I'd love to share with you is accountability. Accountability is such an interesting thing because it's not really baked into our lives, especially those who are working in tech and those who are working remotely or in different jobs where no one can see what you're doing. And there might be a lot of silos in your organization. Most people want to hold themselves accountable, but that can be a really difficult self-discipline to master. Some people have that, some people don't. For me, what I've learned is to lean on my peer network. It really matters to me that my peer network holds me accountable. So that might be posting your New Year's resolution every day on your Instagram story, for example. I'm actually doing that right now. I'm trying to do morning workouts, and that's helped keep me accountable. And I'm actually really enjoying it. That way I don't rely solely on myself to maintain that practice. So I hope that was helpful to give an example of some of the things to look at when it comes to assessing your traits of trust. What is trustworthiness? And being very honest with yourself. Where are you missing the mark? Be honest with yourself. Where are you not measuring up? And you can say, I actually don't fully trust myself because I'm not, maybe I trust myself in some regards. Like I trust myself to eat well. I trust myself to go to the gym, but I don't trust myself to complete all the tasks on my to-do list. Maybe I need to look into that. How am I making commitments for my to-do list? Just be clear with yourself. Really important. Again, the answers are going to change depending on the person. And so now let's look at the fourth question. The fourth part of this exercise is start to build trust within yourself. Now that you understand where you're missing the mark, where those gaps you need to fill, let's make some commitments. If you are lacking on accountability or lacking on consistency, what are habits you can do that will help to build and foster a sense of trust within yourself? How would you personally feel about yourself and trust yourself? Like, hey, Ada's actually got my back. She knows what my commitments are and she's going to hold fast to them consistently. She's doing her best. Maybe not every day she performs her best, but she's doing her best. Think about that. Like, does Jack have Jack's back? This is very important. Think of a habit that you can commit to consistently that will help foster that sense of trust and make these commitments. It could be one habit a day. It could be 3 habits a day. It could be one daily habit and a yearly habit. Just think about something that you consistently hold yourself accountable for. If it's a habit that's less frequent than daily, add it to your calendar on a recurring basis. Add a reminder on your phone. These are things that you know how to do. So if you've stuck with me this far, fantastic. It means you're really committed to understanding what it's like to foster and grow trust within yourself. Now let's talk about how to do that for your organization, because I understand that that is your goal here. And as we know, it's really important to first build that within ourselves so that we can do that for the organization. So let's talk about the 3 steps for how to then bring in more trust within your organization. There's 3 little steps. 1, model your trustworthiness. This is everything we just covered in that first part. You know what it looks like to be trustworthy, the traits you want to exemplify, be that person. Number 2, be vulnerable. Allow yourself to be imperfect. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. And number 3 is let go of the reins and trust. Be a trusting person. Trust your team to do the right things. Let's talk about this a little bit more. Number 1 is self-explanatory. We already covered that in the first part of this video. So model what it is to be a trustworthy person according to your values. Number 2, allow yourself to be an imperfect and vulnerable person. Why do I say this? Because we have such toxic expectations, such immature, narcissistic expectations of what it is like to be a leader. They're perfect. They never made a mistake. They understand vision. They make all the right decisions. It's just false. It's not possible. No person makes the right decision every single time. It might be the right decision in that moment, given the information you have at that time, but it might lead to some failure. That's what you mean by the wrong decision. But that's the thing. No decision is truly wrong if it's thoughtful and intentional. You cannot go wrong if you're being thoughtful and intentional with the decisions that you're making as you navigate these uncharted waters for building a new innovating startup. If you find yourself in a predicament where things are not going well because of a previous decision, allow yourself some grace. Give yourself permission to be an imperfect human being. Find some space within yourself, and maybe even with a friend, to give you some grace and permission to have made a mistake or have made a decision that led you to where you are now. And recognize that it's okay. Like, it's all good. Now, what's the next decision you want to make? That is the key, is iterating quickly and often. And the truth is, you might think that being perfect is what makes people trust you as a leader. That's just not true at all. Studies show that in relationships, people tend to trust and connect with people more when they see that they're vulnerable, when they're able to connect. If you're always trying to be perfect, if you're not letting anybody see your flaws or own up to and be accountable for the mistakes or judgment calls that you made that led to some mistake down the line, if you're not letting people see that you own up to that and that you forgive yourself for that, and you're going to make a new decision now, given the new information you have available, people aren't going to trust you because they know that you are not a perfect person. And if they think that you think you're a perfect person because you're portraying a perfect leader, this macho, toxic leader, or perfect divine feminine leader, whatever that might be for you, they're not going to trust you to understand the nuances and the difficulties of life, of what comes with the challenge of building a startup. So allow yourself to be a vulnerable person. And of course, everything with boundaries. You don't need to be vulnerable about every aspect of your life, of your deepest insecurities to your team. It's just a matter of recognizing, hey, I made this decision to lay off 5 people because we needed the extra runway and it was really difficult at the time. And now I'm saying, like, you know what, that probably was a bad decision because we need to hire those people back. We're going to put the JDs back up on the website. Own it. It happened. You learned from it. It's okay. It was difficult. Appreciate that. Share that with your team. Foster a sense of trust and safety in making mistakes. If you don't allow yourself as a leader to make mistakes with safety, you won't allow your organization, your teammates, the same amount of safety. Safety is so important for organizations looking to create something new and to innovate. You have to foster a sense of safety and trust to make mistakes, to fail quickly, to learn from them, to build on them over and over and over again. That's how you're going to get to where you want to go, I promise you. And so on that third one of how to build trust within your organization is let go of the reins and trust your team. Be trusting. No micromanaging. I'm assuming you've hired adults who know how to do their job. Be clear on your expectations of the job description. Be clear on the expectations of the performance. Clearly, effectively communicate, as I stated earlier in the video. You have to trust people. People will trust you more when they feel trusted. It is almost a leap of faith, but also it's just the price you pay for the game. So I hope this is really helpful to all of you. I hope it provided some clarity and maybe some aha moments on what it is that you're missing or what you need to bring into your team or your personal practice to allow for a higher level of trust in your organization. If you're clear about your values and what trustworthiness looks like to you, and you model that for yourself and for your team, if you allow yourself to be vulnerable and hold yourself accountable for the things that happen on your journey, and if you allow your team to bring more trust or be even untrusting at times, and you trust them to come into the fold, I promise you, time will flow and you will feel and see the evidence of heightened levels of trust. That will align people more to the vision. It'll make meetings go much more smoothly. The dangers of not fostering trust, of not being intentional about this aspect as part of your organization is high. Without trusting your organization, you're going to have misalignment of teams. You're going to have politicking and drama. Meetings are going to take 3 times as long. Projects are not going to get completed. It's a lot of wasted time and energy and money from your investors as well. So it's within your best interest, the enjoyment of yourself as a leader, the enjoyment of your colleagues on the team, and the success of your company to foster a great sense of trust and safety in your organization. I hope this was helpful. If you like this video, please like it and subscribe if you want to continue to see content like this. By the way, for those of you who are struggling with burnout, of lack of alignment and trust, feeling disempowered as a leader, but want to shift to empowerment, to feeling high levels of trust, to break free from burnout, check out the link in my description below. Just some information about how I work with founders to break them free of these cycles and get them into empowered leadership. That's all for today. Wishing you all the best. Until next time, take care, everybody.